Hello everyone and welcome to Season 6, Episode 11 of Pro Wrestling's Top 50. I'm your host Travis McNeil, and today we continue our countdown of the top 50 matches of 2021 with match number 40 on our list, which is the NXT UK Heritage Cup title match between the champion A-Kid and the challenger Tyler Bate from the NXT UK May 20th, 2021 episode. Now, this might be a little bit of a tough pill for a lot of people to swallow, but during the pandemic, some of the best in-ring wrestling, in my opinion, as far as empty arena and, zero crowd shows go, are from the NXT UK brand. Now, I know it's easy to dunk on NXT UK. It's easy to dunk on Brit Rest in general. I completely get it. But the fact of the matter is, what they've done with a lot of their matches is something that a lot of other promotions and the WWE in general kind of failed at during these, empty arena shows where, wrestling is so theatrical, especially, big mainstream televised wrestling like the WWE. So you lose that element of crowd interaction. So you have, all of these wrestlers that are so scripted and are so set in their ways with what they normally do that it doesn't translate to these empty arena crowds because you lose that pageantry of the fan support. But NXT UK really made a shift to focus on competition. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of bad on those shows still, but a lot of their main events really delivered during that pandemic era. Walter and Ilya Dragunov was my second favorite match of 2020. And here we have, our first NXT UK match coming in on the countdown for 2021. To top it all off, this is a face versus face match, and I'm sure I've talked about it on this program before, that face versus face matches are a little bit of a lost art in wrestling nowadays. We're so used to the face-heel dynamic. I love the face-heel dynamic, but every once in a while, you can get a fun, competitive match between two baby faces, and the great wrinkle in these stories always comes with someone getting just a little bit too aggressive and showing a little bit of a different side. And that's so good because at its core, wrestling is supposed to be a competition about wins and losses. So when you have this competitive edge in one performer, trying to do what they can to win and having that drive, it becomes very compelling. And this match is a terrific example of that. So you have this built-in student versus teacher story here that they've established previously on NXT UK where, Tyler Bate, whether this is true or not, I honestly don't know, but, maybe mentored A-Kid a little bit and kind of helped bring him into, the NXT UK world. A-Kid found tremendous success, becoming the first Heritage Cup champion. If you're unfamiliar with the Heritage Cup, it is basically a trophy that's defended in NXT UK under basically, European rounds, British World of Sport rules, some slight variants on it, but that's basically the gist of it. So you have 6 3-minute rounds. It's best 2 out of 3 falls. I don't know if they consider a knockout as an automatic win, like, your traditional World of Sports rules would. I honestly don't remember. I've never seen it happen on NXT UK, but 2 out of 3 falls, 6 3-minute rounds. Like I said, a fall will automatically end a round. So, if you win 30 seconds into a fall, that fall is done. At the end of the 6 rounds, if someone has 1-2 falls, obviously they're the winner. If not, whoever, has scored a fall wins. If it goes to a draw, maybe they can extend the rounds. I don't know. Again, I'm not sure what the precedent is for it. But A-Kid, he won the Heritage Cup. He defeated Tyler Bate's running buddy, Trent Seven, in the finals in an excellent match to win that cup. Tyler Bate is someone that, I'd be remiss not to mention, he is someone that has had speaking out allegations, come out against him in the past. I've mentioned that in discussing these previous matches, on this program before. So I completely understand if you choose not to watch this one, given the participant. I'll put a disclaimer, as I always do with the video, regarding that, and I won't tag Tyler Bate in any social media posts regarding this match. But Tyler Bate is someone, aside, from those allegations, that has all of the raw, talent and potential of any young wrestler I've ever seen. He is incredible. He is like this great mix of like a Cesaro or Claudio Castagnoli mixed with an AJ Styles, mixed, with a strapping young babyface. I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but he's this great meld of wrestler. He's just incredibly talented, and he's someone that the WWE's never really utilized. He was the first, United Kingdom champion. He lost the belt to Pete Dunne. And from there, yes, Mustache Mountain had NXT tag team title run for a couple weeks. Yes, they were the NXT UK tag team champions, but how this guy is not on the main roster, not wrestling at WrestleMania, not, at the very least in the upper mid card is beyond me. And he's so young. This is someone that they could utilize for decades to come, and they just don't. And, I have so much frustration for the WWE, and, their misuse of someone that talented is a great example. And I won't even give them the benefit of the doubt and say it's because of the allegations, because they have people with, more detailed allegations out there on their main roster competing at WrestleMania. Austin Theory, Matt Riddle, all of these guys are in premier roles in the WWE, but Tyler Bate isn't. It's very bizarre. But anyways, he's someone that kind of has this built-in story where, he had great success very early on in his NXT UK career, and it sort of waned a little bit. And now here he is, his student has a title and he doesn't. And now he has to try to beat his student just to get some sort of recognition in the promotion. So it's kind of a cool built-in story. This is done face versus face. It starts very clean, and the aggression gets ramped up, and it builds into a fever pitch for the end of this match. You can't ask for a better face versus face match than this because they do such an incredible job. The first round is so good. It's these great, even exchanges, but Tyler Bate really struggles to break a wrist lock that A-Kid's able to maintain, and he, tries to monkey flip him out of it and snapmare him out of that. And, A-Kid is constantly holding onto that wrist lock. And finally, at the end, Tyler Bate has to use the ropes to leverage out. And he ends up flipping A-Kid, who just does this resorte onto his feet as the round ends. And there was nothing arrogant from what A-Kid did. But you can just tell Tyler Bate is someone that's really underrated when it comes to physical charisma and facial expressions. You can just tell this irked Tyler, right? To see this guy really, that's supposed to be a student, get the better of the teacher in this match. The second fall, every round, I should say, in this match builds upon the last. So for the second round, A-Kid goes back to what worked for him so well in the first round. He goes to that wrist lock, but this time, Tyler Bate gets out of it a lot faster. He's not going to be toyed around in it. And he, kind of kicks A-Kid off, and he's very frustrated. And, the first guy to really resort to sort of a strike in this match. A-Kid, he's able to get the advantage of again, and he goes for a surfboard. And again, Tyler Bate has to kick him out of this surfboard to end the round. So again, that frustration building. The third round, again, playing off of it, where this time, Tyler Bate is really tentative to start. A-Kid's been getting the best of him. He doesn't want to get locked in a wrist lock or in a surfboard or anything like that again. And he tries to go into his well of tricks. This is, Brit Rest, World of Sport kind of rules. So, he goes for an artful dodger, very shades of Johnny Saint very early on. But A-Kid has it scouted, and he catches him in a rear naked choke. And it leads to this great exchange where they're flipping each other out of this rear naked choke. And Tyler Bate once again kind of kicks A-Kid off, but this time A-Kid is tired of being thrown to the side and tired of being kicked off, and he explodes in with this big diving forearm, and finally the match turns into this slugfest that it's been subtly building up to this whole time. And, A-Kid resortes out of another move, and this time Tyler Bate just hauls off and punches him right in the face, hip tosses, and they both go out to the floor to end round 3. As we get into the fourth round, Tyler Bate at this point, he's frustrated. He doesn't know what to do. He needs to make a move. So he just rushes in at the bell with a running European uppercut in the corner and just starts nailing all of these body shots to A-Kid. But A-Kid gets this great up kick, and we get our first real near fall of the match, showing that these guys, the pleasantries are over, the fancy chain wrestling is over. These guys want to win. They're fired up when A-Kid uses a fisherman suplex for 2. Another near fall where Tyler again goes for a diving European uppercut. This time it gets turned into a backslide for 2. A-Kid transitions it right into the omoplata, which is one of his signatures. Tyler Bate deadlifts him out of that right onto his shoulders, starts going for the airplane spin, but A-Kid slips out the back, grabs the rear naked choke again, uses it to muscle Tyler down, gives it up, hits a big penalty kick, grabs the choke again, gets backed into the corner, and A-Kid dives off the rope, and Tyler, again, that European uppercut, he uses it to cut A-Kid off, hits him with goes for a brainbuster. A-Kid transitions that into a guillotine choke. Tyler has to use the strength to deadlift him out of the guillotine into a brainbuster, and he's just about to make the cover when the round ends. So this match, you know, I just went through one sequence in it. I don't do a ton of play-by-play on this show, but that shows you the intricacies of these guys' movement and their sequence and the beautiful wrestling, but playing into this story of this willingness to win, this student versus teacher, this aggression being brought, you know, caught up, but also playing off the moves earlier in the match. It's all so well done. Our fifth round, Tyler Bate again takes a different approach. He doesn't rush in this time. He really tries to use his strength, which has worked for him in short bursts throughout the match. He muscles A-Kid down to with a knuckle lock, and something that I love, you know, A-Kid kind of shoots Tyler Bate back up on his feet and really quickly goes for the moonsault DDT, very Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero at Halloween Havoc 97-esque. And I love this because A-Kid used this move to really, you know, kind of get that GIF ability. I may have just made that word up, I'm not sure. But in his NXT UK debut, when they really put him over as Tyler Bate's student, you know, when he was, you know, feuding with Jordan Devlin, and A-Kid had this great moonsault DDT in that match. So he goes for that and he almost gets it. But of course, in Tyler Bate, he has his students scouted a little bit too. He knows he's going to go for this move, so he counters it into a great German suplex. He goes for the Tyler driver. It gets countered into this great bridging pin, but then Tyler counters out of that, hits the Tyler driver, really his coup de grace, only gets 2 for it, and he decides, you know what, I need to go for the biggest gun in my arsenal, the move that won me the United Kingdom Championship, and he goes up top for the spiral tap, and he misses. A-Kid grabs a Fujiwara armbar, starts dropping these hammer fists, grabs an omoplata. Tyler Bate's trying to fight it, so he bridges back the other arm, Zack Sabre Jr. style, and that ends our round. But Tyler Bate is so hurt and so rattled from all of this. They really got saved by the bell, just like it kind of did for A-Kid in round 4, you know, after that big deadlift brainbuster. And this, you know, causes Trent Seven to kind of panic a little bit. And if you watch my NXT countdown very early on in that series, I talked about a Mustache Mountain versus Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly match that, you know, involved this towel and Tyler Bate throwing in the towel for Trent Seven. So, you know, Trent's kind of talking to Tyler and knows, you know, the arm is hurt. He's potentially going to lose the match, and he's, you know, got the towel with them. And just in a great moment, Tyler Bate grabs a towel and just tosses it away and basically says to Trent Seven, like, I don't need you to do for me what I had to do for you to save your career. I've got this. You know, what ends up being our 6th and final fall is Electric. A-Kid at this time is the aggressor, and he tries to shoot in with a big drop kick in the corner right at the bell, like Tyler did in round 4 with the running Euro, but Tyler sees this coming, misses it, hits, you know, I call it the Los Luchas lariat. It's that kind of like neck bounce off the ropes into the lariat. He goes for the Tyler driver once again. It gets countered into a great Hurricane Rana for 2. We get this great strike exchange between the two where they're evading their big strikes, and A-Kid misses the soccer kick that he hit earlier. Tyler Bate tries, you know, a schoolboy roll-up as time is counting down. A-Kid counters it. Shades of Wembley Stadium, baby. Sits down British Bulldog style like it's, you know, he's pinning Bret Hart in SummerSlam 92. Very appropriate for NXT UK, and it's enough to hold, or pardon me, I messed all of that up. A-Kid goes for the schoolboy. Tyler sits down. It's enough to hold A-Kid for the 3 count. Gets him the win. You know, the teacher for this one moment, you know, out wrestles the student, wins the Heritage Cup. A-Kid, you know, very respectful, hands it over to his teacher. But the thing with this match is it really leaves the door open because these are supposed to be 2 out of 3 falls. because it ends the 6th round, like I mentioned earlier. There's nothing else. Tyler wins 1-0, but it really still feels a little bit disputed. And I talked about this the other day in my video with Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson, where, you know, I'm left wanting more. I wanted to see the rematch from this. I potentially wanted to see A-Kid win the cup back from Tyler Bate, and they just never went back to it. Now, that's a match that, you know, NXT has in their back pocket for the future. Will we ever get it? At this point, it doesn't seem likely, but I sincerely hope we do. Excellent wrestling, great chemistry, great story, everything you could ask for in what's essentially a free TV match, you know, if you have Peacock or the WWE Network. You know, of course, if you want to check this one out, there's your sources. Peacock, WWE Network if you're outside the US. You can subscribe to my channel here on YouTube so that you never miss a video. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Wrestling50. And please join me again next time as we continue to count down Pro Wrestling's Top 50.